From the Alvin and Rosalie Sarachek studio, PBS Kansas presents Ageless Enthusiasm. Coming up on this Ageless Enthusiasm, I speak with Lee Gray, who made the decision after 50 to take action and change career paths.
What we do and how we help business owners, and also the whole mindset thing around doing something new and doing something great.
I also speak with Claudia Amaro, who took a skill set that she needed when she came to America and turned it into a thriving business.
Here we are 7 years later.
Wow. So perseverance pays off.
It does.
I'm Mindy East. All this on the next Ageless Enthusiasm. Welcome to Ageless Enthusiasm. I'm your host, Mindy East. My special guest tonight is Lee Gray, business owner and the action coach of Wichita. Welcome, Lee.
Thank you, Mindy. It's really a pleasure to be here.
The premise of this show is redefining life, health, and happiness over 50. And you decided to change careers over 50.
I did.
So tell me a little bit about that.
Well, it actually has an unhappy beginning, but a very happy ending.
Okay.
I started my career, and the last job that I thought I was ever going to have was with a technology company located here in Wichita. And I was the director of marketing and business development, and the CEO that hired me retired, and we ended up having somebody who didn't like me very much. We didn't click. So I had the opportunity to leave that job, and I did.
You were uninvited to leave that.
I did. And honestly, Mindy, I will tell you, at the age of 51, I was 51 when that happened, I cried for 2 days, and then I said, that's it. We're going to figure out a better way, and
Good for you.
So I had the opportunity to figure something out. I took about a year off, spent some time with my grandchildren. And
how many do you have?
I have 10. They're
Oh
all
my
perfect.
gosh.
All of them all 10 are perfect.
Perfect.
Age 2 to 15.
Oh, that's what I have.
Yes.
2 to 15.
Isn't it great?
How about that?
Yes.
Only I have 8.
Okay, well, I have 10, and I'm very proud of each and every one of them. One of them is even working with me in my business a little bit. That is so exciting to me.
That is neat.
And she's very passionate about what we do and how we help business owners, and also the whole mindset thing around doing something new and doing something great. And so my husband said, well, you better find something you like to really love to do. He said, you love all that facilitation stuff and you love helping people. Why don't you figure out what you can do in that regard? So we decided I would look at franchises, because I knew at 51 I didn't want to try to reinvent the wheel. And so started looking at franchises, looked at a number of them, and stumbled on Action Coach and kept stumbling on Action Coach and did the vetting process, which I can talk a little bit about that if you like, because if somebody is in their 50s or at any age and is wanting to look at a business, there are certain things you need to do. But even more so in your 50s, because you may be investing some of your retirement.
Sure.
Which is what I did, and most do.
It has to be worth it.
It does, and it was. So that's sort of how it all happened. And thank goodness that the worst day of my life became the best days of the rest of my life.
Isn't it funny how those things work out sometimes?
It is.
I love it. So, Action Coach, so you basically took some action steps
I
to
did.
move into a better future and haven't looked back.
Haven't looked back.
So I see you as a cheerleader, but you're actually a coach.
I am
and
a
you
coach.
help people with their career paths. Is it personal development and professional as well?
That's a really great question. It starts with working with the business owner. The business owner sort of is the catalyst for everything that business does. So you find a business owner that's interested in growing the business, or maybe they're not as passionate today as they were when they started the business 5 years, 10 years, or even 2 generations ago. And they know there's more, but they're so tired they can't even get to it anymore, perhaps.
Well, what would be a good step to get into a more enthusiastic place?
You know, do the research. So get on the internet, chat GPT, or all of the things, the resources that we have, and get around people who you haven't been around before. Because you're going to learn things that you don't know from people who you don't know right now.
So take advantage of all those opportunities.
Some really great local organizations that offer a lot of things really either at low charge or no charge that you can, if you put your mind to it, you could keep yourself busy with learning and educating yourself about your passion, you know, many hours a day. So figuring out what it is, and then, you know, really knowing more than the next person. And I read something once that said, if you've read 3 books on a topic, then you know more about that topic than 10% of the population.
Wow.
So just do that. If you're thinking about starting any kind of a business, take the time to learn about it and then
research.
Right.
What are some of your favorite civic groups to get plugged into here in Wichita?
I love the Wichita Chamber. It's a wonderful organization. They've been around a long time. They support really big companies and small you know, solopreneurs. And also Wichita Independent Business Association is a good organization that I like. Yep, WEBA. In fact, I'm officing next to them in the Ruffin building downtown. And there's lots and lots of technology-based industry or support groups that help new companies that are starting out. We have the most amazing resources in this community if you want to start a business, if it's technology related or just you're a brand new startup. You can spend 2 or 3 days a week just being around those people. And there's a great energy. Young people, older people, all kinds of people. Whether you're starting a business for the first time or this your 50th business, there's something for you.
And I like 1 Million Cups too.
Yes, 1 Million Cups.
That's every Wednesday, and it's free, and it's a great networking opportunity.
It is, and people go to Million Cups to share their story about their dream, and then when you hear another person's dream, it does nothing more. It helps you to pull at your own dream strings, you know. And I love that. So Million Cups, good idea.
Well, and like-mindedness, you know, sometimes you have to align with the right people in order to build and grow what you're already doing. And you do that for me. You're a wonderful, you know, friend and encourager, so I appreciate that. So what we're going to do, we're going to take a little break.
Okay.
We're going to shop this store.
I can't wait.
I know. And then we'll be back in just a few
Sounds
minutes,
good.
and we'll talk about something fun and exciting that's coming up.
Okay, I'll see you in a little bit, Mindy.
My next guest is Claudia Amaro, who started her own business, ABC Bilingual Services, here in Wichita. Welcome, Claudia.
Thank you, Mindy.
Claudia, I know you're very actively involved in our Wichita community, and you have been in the Business Journal, you've been on various boards and committees, but recently you were just honored last week at the Definers Dinner for minority-owned entrepreneurs. Tell us a little bit about that.
Of course, that was an amazing event by the Create Campaign, an organization that supports minority-owned entrepreneurs. And I have been lucky to be a member of the Create Campaign since the start of my business. They have been fundamental on the starting and the growth of my business. And after, I want to say, 6-7 years, counting on or with their support, they honor me with that recognition. They use the word perseverance on the work that I've done, and I feel like that fits perfectly because, like I shared with you before, when we started ABNC Bilingual Resources, the idea was very challenging for other people to understand what we were doing. And I remember just keep going and going, and then here we are 7 years later.
Wow. So perseverance pays off.
It does.
Well, good for you. You've been described as a dreamer.
I have.
So you dreamt up this idea and decided Wichita had a need. Tell us about that.
Yeah, sure. I have been doing translation or interpreting for a long, long time. Ever since I learned English when I was a teenager. I started doing it for my mom, and then for other family members, and then for people who will randomly ask me for. So that's something that a skill that I was able to develop normally through life. And then I had some jobs that I got in because I was bilingual. So I'll continue to serve the community in different ways through different jobs. And then my last job before starting the business, I was a family engagement educator in Derby Public School, elementary school. And I was serving many families. And when I saw the impact my position was doing, I really wanted it to go beyond just a school district, and that's when I started ABNC Bilingual Resources.
Because sometimes the only English-speaking person in that family might be 8 years old, right? So you were probably very supportive when somebody had a court date or a medical appointment or needed some legal questions answered.
Yeah.
And you guys were able to come in and help.
Right. Yeah. Legal services, they stressed me out a little bit, I'm going to be honest with you. But we did a lot of education. And now, when we started ABNC Bilingual Resources, one of our biggest challenge was that we wanted it to serve local businesses and local nonprofits. And that was a challenge because a lot of people thought that translation and interpreting was especially for like education, clinical, medical, or legal. And the need that you talked about that we saw in the community was like there were already so many resources in the community from nonprofits, and there were a lot of local businesses that were not tapping into the Latino community, leaving out $5.6 billion, which is the purchasing power in Kansas.
Wow. Well, I know you also are involved with, you have a radio show and a newspaper. Tell us about those two things.
So we started as an interpreting and translation company, and then I finished my major on advertising. So we quickly moved into marketing consulting. And as I was working on campaigns, we realized that we didn't have enough media and enough channels to advertise to Latino community in South Kansas. So I've always been passionate about radio. I used to work when I was young and radio stations in Wichita in Spanish. So radio was my passion. I actually had a certification from a private school in California on radio.
Oh, very good.
So that's when I started a local radio show. Again, there was a big need for information in the Latino community. There are families in Wichita who have been living here for more than 10 years and they've never been to places because they either don't know about them or they just don't feel invited. So that talk show was a little bit like this one where I invited guests and people will talk about different things in the community.
Well, you know, the premise of this show is to redefine life, health, and happiness over 50. And some people might have an elderly family member they're caring for, and they're also taking care of a child or a grandchild. Tell me about the challenges in the Latino community with an aging relative.
Yes, thank you for asking that question. So last year we were able to start a newspaper. A couple months ago, we published an article about some differences on how the Latino community take care of their elders. And one of those is like, we don't feel comfortable. Sometimes we don't trust institutions to just leave our grandparents or parents in those institutions. So we often have to make a decision on quitting everything. And sometimes we even come close to losing our own health because we devoted our lives to take care of those elder family members. And another challenge, it's the Latino community is one that is the most behind on digital skills. And that really affects directly to our elder community, where and I feel like that's in almost every community, right? Because
I know, we're all
challenged. Right, we're challenged with that, like our ages. We're not, if we're not millennials, right?
Yeah.
So even connecting your new TV into Wi-Fi, that's a big challenge. So now add the language barrier to that.
Oh goodness, I can imagine. Now you have something really special coming up here. In a few weeks, you're going to be a first-time grandmother.
Yes, I am.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
What dreams do you have for this little baby?
Oh my God. I describe myself bicultural, loving two countries. I'm original from Mexico, and I love the United States because I moved to this country when I was 12 years old, and it has given me so many opportunities. So what I really wish for my granddaughter is to be proud of her roots and be proud of who she's gonna be or she is. And also hopefully she find her identity, whatever she feels comfortable with.
Well, just having a loving, supportive grandmother like you.
Hopefully she's bilingual.
Oh yes, I'm sure she will be. And then I have to ask you, there's someone else very important in your life, And his name is Messy. Tell us a little bit about Messy.
Oh my God, Messy is my dog. He's 7 years old. He's so spoiled.
And he's named after the
soccer player. So yeah, the dog, Messy the dog is very important for me. Messy the player is very important for my husband. But yeah, he is what keeps me sane. I'm super busy with ABNC, with the radio station, with the newspaper, and just coming back home. And now after an empty nest, because my son left, last year he met this girl, he got married, now he's having a baby. And it wasn't as hard just because I had Messy.
Right. Oh, animals just add so much to our lives. I wish every day was bring your animal or your dog to work day.
I know. Yeah.
Anyway, well, thank you, Claudia. Appreciate your time today, and best wishes to you.
Thank you.
On continued success.
Thank you.
We're back. We've been shopping in this fabulous store. Now, Lee, we've been talking about all the opportunities here in the Wichita area, but I know that outside of Wichita, out in Kansas and beyond, there are just as many opportunities.
There are.
What are some of those that you could share with people right now?
Good question. So the Small Business Administration is a national organization, and I would, wherever you are, I would start there, even in Wichita. So the Small Business Administration can help you with finding funding resources. They can help you with maybe looking at the kind of training that you need. They'll even assign a mentor to you to help you write your business plan, your marketing plan. It's an amazing organization. They'll have mentors that work there that are professional bankers or retired bankers, attorneys, CPAs, things like that. And they are a wonderful resource. The other resources would be associations related to your business. So if you want to get into housekeeping or facilities management or something, there would be a facilities management of the U.S. or something in every community that's national or regional or state or even city, wherever you are. So those would be the first places that I would begin. And also that chamber, those local chambers, they're in every community, very small communities, even even towns with 3,000 or 4,000 people will have a resource like a local chamber.
That's a good place to start. Well, also so many things happen after age 50, lots of changes, divorce, moving, changes of friends, but what are some of the fun things that you do to stay young and happy and active?
Well, I ride my bicycle.
Is it like the Schwinn with the sissy bar, or are you on a big bike?
I want to tell you about my bike. So we met a bicycle company owner, and we decided to go and visit the bicycle shop. I had a bicycle that I rode from time to time, but it was stolen. So we thought we would go and look at this bicycle shop and check it out. And we get there and we walk around the store. It's a beautiful store, many options here in Wichita. And it was the Bicycle Peddler, to be specific. But I had not thought about an electric bike. And really, it's not an electric bike, it's a pedal assist bike. So my husband and I decided that we're in different levels of shape, I would say, but both of us want to do things. So we rode the bike in the parking lot, and it's so much fun. You can zoom that thing to 16 miles an hour pretty quickly, but you can ride the bike without pedal assist. So if you're on flat and you can go, you can ride it either way. So we've been riding 10, 12-mile trips around Wichita, and there are so many bike paths. There are bike paths downtown. There are some that you can get on south of Kellogg that take you all the way to Garden Plain. There are some on the east side of town. When you find out how many bike paths there are in this town, it's mind-blowing.
Where do you go to find that information out?
I would go to the Bicycle Peddler or just,
and they have a map.
They have a map, and there's some other associations in town. You're seeing in Wichita and some other towns, they're creating bike paths, and they are doing that in Wichita. You're seeing more and more of them. You still have to be careful. My husband and I have the helmet and the rear view mirror and all the other stuff that we have invested in, but we have fun every time we go. And I'm staying without the pedal assist more and more every trip we take, so it's been fun.
Yes. That's okay. Are you in a bike club?
No, we're not in a bike club. I think that'll happen eventually. And we'd like to go on some long distance rides with some other cyclists. And it's a community in and of itself, a lot of support in all ages.
Okay, very good.
I think bicycling is ageless.
I believe so. I think so too. So,
Yeah.
Well, that sounds like a fun way to stay in shape.
It's a lot of fun. You should join us.
Okay.
I spend time with my grandchildren. I get plenty of sleep. Who would have thought that getting plenty of sleep would be one of the
It
most
is
fun things
so
you do? But it helps me take care of myself, and I want to be really clear and alert when I'm working with my clients, when I'm spending time with my grandchildren. And for me, that's getting good exercise and making sure I rest. But it wasn't a couple of years ago, we decided, I just remember thinking, I love music. And do you remember whatever year of decade that you were in high school? You know every song that was on the radio that year, right? You can do the beat, you can sing it, you know the words. And I missed disco so much. So I thought, I want to dance, and I want to dance to disco. Surely there are other people who do. So I decided to start an event here locally in Wichita that's a disco event. We have disco, we have 60s, 70s music, and some 80s. And we've done it here. It's been really fun. We started it at 5 and we're done by 11. So
I
everybody
went.
can get it. Yes, you
It
did.
was so much fun. That was such a fun event. You had food, you had music, you had the photo booth. That's right. That's what it was. And a bar.
And a bar.
It was so much fun. And there were people from young all the way up to, I mean, it was multi-generational. And
people in their 90s came. People I had no idea it would be so well received in the community. It was so much fun.
And some people dressed up.
They
You
did.
know, like in disco. And so that was so much fun.
We usually do it in the fall of each year. So if you're thinking about something you want to put on your calendar that's worth your time.
And my motto is, if you slow down, you go down. So it's a nice way to
slowing
keep
down.
moving, stay active, and just have fun.
So much fun. Yeah.
Well, thank you, Lee.
You're welcome.
So much. It was so nice to have you join us today, and we'll look forward to seeing you in action.
Enthusiastically.
Yes. Thank you. And thank you for joining us on this episode of Ageless Enthusiasm.